Here's the text, exactly as you provided it. Have you ever felt like, no matter how hard you try, there are always people telling you that you can't do it? These negative voices can come from everywhere. Friends, family, or even complete strangers. They say your dreams are too unrealistic, that you're not good enough, or that the path you've chosen is too risky. At first, you might brush these words off, treating them as mere background noise. But over time, they start to seep into your mind, slowly eroding your self-confidence and shaking your belief in yourself. But consider this. Success isn't about proving them wrong, but rather learning not to listen to them in the first place. People will always have opinions, sometimes because they genuinely worry about you, and sometimes because they cannot see the potential you are nurturing. But only you truly understand your own abilities and passions. Remember, if you let negative voices dominate your thoughts, you'll find yourself trapped in a cycle of doubt. On the other hand, if you stand firm and refuse to let those words influence you, you'll become stronger and move closer to your dreams with every step. So keep pushing forward, ignore the noise, and believe in yourself. Ryan was a young man with big dreams, the kind of dreams that keep you awake at night, imagining the bright future you want to create. He didn't want to live an ordinary life, but longed to leave a mark, to be able to look back one day and feel proud of the path he chose. But like every great journey, Ryan's path wasn't lined with roses. Whenever he shared his goals, he often met with skeptical looks and discouraging comments. That's too unrealistic. Why not choose a safer path? You're not cut out for this. These were words Ryan heard more often than he had ever expected. At first, he tried to ignore them, telling himself that as long as he worked hard, everything would be fine. But as time went on, those words started to sink in, slowly chipping away at his confidence. He began to wonder, am I really capable of this? Am I just being too ambitious? Gradually, his faith in himself began to waver. One day, feeling overwhelmed and exhausted, Ryan went to his grandfather, a man known for his calm wisdom and deep insight. They sat together on the porch, watching the sun slowly set. The air was still, the gentle rustling of leaves the only sound, as if the world itself was waiting for a heartfelt conversation. Finally, Ryan broke the silence, pouring out all the pressure and fears he had been carrying in his heart. His grandfather listened patiently, then gave a gentle smile. "You remind me of an old story," he said slowly, his eyes gazing into the distance, as if recalling a distant memory. "Perhaps it will help you see things differently." Ryan sat quietly, his eyes filled with curiosity, ready to absorb the wisdom of the man he deeply respected. And that story would forever change the way he saw himself, reigniting the fire of passion that had been dampened by doubt. When Ryan shared his fears and doubts, his grandfather responded with a gentle but meaningful story. Long ago, 5 frogs set off on an adventure through a dense forest. They leaped happily, enjoying the freedom and excitement of their journey. But then an unexpected accident happened. 3 of the 5 frogs accidentally fell into a deep, dark, slippery pit. The 2 frogs that remained on the surface looked down at their struggling friends below. At first, the 3 trapped frogs did not lose heart. They leaped with all their might, trying to escape the pit. But the pit was too deep, and the sides were too slick, so each jump ended with them sliding back down to the bottom. Seeing this, the 2 frogs above began shouting, "Stop trying! The hole is too deep. You'll never get out. Just accept your fate." Hearing these words, one of the trapped frogs felt his strength drain away. He started to believe that perhaps his friends were right. The hole was too deep, too difficult to escape. After a few more desperate jumps, he gave up hope, slumping into a corner and accepting his fate. The 2 remaining frogs continued to jump, refusing to give up, but the discouraging voices from above never ceased. "Why are you still trying? Just accept it. Don't waste your energy." Eventually, another frog began to lose faith. He thought to himself, maybe they're right. This is hopeless. And soon, he too stopped trying, sitting down beside his exhausted friend. Now only one frog remained determined to escape. It leaped with every bit of strength it had, each jump stronger than the last. Despite being on the brink of exhaustion, it never stopped. Finally, with one powerful leap, it managed to grab hold of the pit's edge and pulled itself out. The two frogs above were stunned, unable to believe what they had just witnessed. They asked, "How did you manage to get out?" At this, the frog turned around and gave them a bright smile. It turns out it was deaf, unable to hear their discouraging words from the start. The lesson from this story is clear. Sometimes success isn't about proving others wrong, but about learning to ignore the negative voices and focusing on your own strength. As his grandfather finished the story, Ryan sat in silence for a while, reflecting on the deep message hidden within each line. Finally, he asked softly, "So that frog wasn't special in any way, other than being deaf to the negativity around it?" His grandfather smiled and nodded. Exactly. It had no special powers, nor was it a particularly extraordinary frog. It simply couldn't hear the discouragement, so it never lost faith in itself. Placing a gentle hand on Ryan's shoulder, his grandfather continued, his voice steady but filled with meaning. This is an important lesson you should remember. Often, we don't fail because we are weak, but because we listen too much to the negative voices around us. They may not see your potential or understand the dreams you are pursuing, and as a result, they may try to pull you down, even if unintentionally. He paused, his eyes reflecting memories of past struggles. The world is a noisy place, Ryan. When you strive to do something great, there will always be those who doubt, criticize, or even mock you. But what matters most is learning to choose what you listen to. If you allow those voices to affect you, you'll become trapped in your own fear and doubt. But if you ignore them and focus on your goals, nothing can stop you from reaching your dreams. Ryan sat there, feeling each word sink into his heart like cool water soothing a weary soul. He remembered all the times he had hesitated or doubted himself because of the words of others. He realized that the problem wasn't what others said, but that he had chosen to listen. That night, as he lay in bed, Ryan smiled, his heart full of renewed determination. He knew that from now on, he would be like that deaf frog, jumping higher no matter how loud the world around him became.